right, let's talk about sticky table tennis rubber. A little brief history of sticky rubber. It's been around for a long time. My first experience seeing it was a defensive player who could take his racket and put a ball down on the table, and then one side of his racket was so sticky he could pick the ball up and it would stick to the racket. Not sure exactly what type of rubber he was using at the time, but that was quite a long time ago. So it's been around, and Chinese players have been using it, versions of hurricane rubber that up until recently seemed to be mostly on the forehand and having good success with it. Then word is that now more and more players are using it on their forehand and their backhand, and there's some information out there about various specific rubber, as far as like Dignics, butterfly Dignics, extremely popular. Still Hurricane is very popular, and there's some other versions. Particular one I use is Tacky Seeger, I think it's PK50, something like that, which is kind of a cross between the Hurricane and Intenergy, supposedly, something along those lines. And it's sticky, but not ridiculous sticky like some of the Hurricane versions are. And I say ridiculous sticky, that's not a bad thing necessarily. It depends what you're used to, really. And some rubbers are so sticky you could pick up a ball, some are just moderately sticky. The amount may not make a big difference. It's just the question, is there any tackiness, is there any stickiness to it at all? I went through a phase of using Jewett rubber. Jewett's been around a long time, and they have several versions of the 999 rubber that is sticky, but the more recent rubbers that have come out seem to be more designed for the 40 millimeter ball, and I couldn't tell you what the engineering is that makes that different, but I will say that it does seem like the Nataku rubber that I'm using right now I'm having better results with it and feels better than the Jewett did. Although I think for a lot of players, Jewett could still be a really good option. It's certainly less expensive. You get that sticky feeling with it, and we'll get into a second why you would even want that as part of your table tennis rubber, to have that sticky feeling, that where you could actually pick up the ball a little bit just by placing it on top of it, and defies gravity. So you've got some options, and you could use it on your forehand or your backhand. But one thing that you can think about sticky rubber and the trend towards using it, it's not just that the top players are using it, and of course that kind of trickles down once you get Timo Boll endorsing Dignics and several other players using it, and then if you start seeing some of the better players at your club using it and really having great results, you're like, okay, well, that's something advanced players are having good luck with. But I'm also finding, coaching beginners even, that as long as it's not too fast, that sticky top sheet will help in learning to do forehand loops, control the ball. It's just a matter of getting used to it if you haven't used it. Now, I had an experience of using a version of Tenergy for a while after having used sticky rubber, and the first thing I noticed was, while I basically liked the Tenergy on short bump shots, I couldn't manipulate the ball quite the same because it wouldn't stick to the rubber. If you're used to that sticky feeling and then you don't have it, then you're going to have to change a few things on some of your strokes. So does the sticky rubber really make the ball spin more? Not sure. Not even sure that that is the case. You can get a ton of spin from some of these versions of Dignics, and I get a lot from what I'm using, but it's not a matter of necessarily that you're getting more. To me, it's the being able to control the ball. If you think about it, if you have sticky rubber, you have some ability to hold the ball and manipulate it in a way that might be a little more difficult when the ball or when your racket is extremely bouncy, which is what I discovered with Tenergy. And while Tenergy is a great rubber, many players used it very, very well. A lot of players will tell you, oh, it was too bouncy, I couldn't control things. Adding a little bit of tackiness to the rubber might change that quite a bit and allow you to make that control the ball a little bit more than you could if you're using maximum thickness of one of the super fast rubbers. One of the real big pluses also to the sticky rubber is not just that you can get a lot of speed and spin, it's also that you can put the brakes on the ball in a way that might not happen with the bouncy stuff. So on the short balls, short serve returns that maybe you just want to bump the ball over, the sticky rubber will hold that spin a little bit once you get used to it. So I've been a big fan of sticky rubber for a long time, and like I said, I'm play a bit of a defensive counter driving game that with pips on one side, but it's important, particularly if you're using that type of game, to have something that can give you some spin, some kind of control. And I found that I always have better luck with the stuff that's sticky. And it's, like I said, it's really geared if you're a pure all-out offensive looper. It could work really, really well for you too. It's just has some characteristics. If you're not used to it, it may take a little while to get used to it, but it's really, really good, and I think that's going to be the trend towards more and more of that. So I want to tell you that I appreciate you watching, and I've had a few people make some good comments, and I'll leave you with this thought. If you give me some good comments, you'll probably get better content. It's not a deal, but it just gives me a little bit something to work with, what people are liking, what they're not liking, and I appreciate all your comments, whether they're negative or positive. All right, see you next time. Thanks.